24 years of marriage, 7 of those years in debt, and 7 disciplines of great stewards for you this evening. The Apostle Paul said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We know here at Southern Seminary and Boys College that context is king. That is not a Superman verse. You can't do all things. You can't jump off a 20-story building and land safely. You can't do all things. That is a context of finance, wealth, money. The Apostle Paul states in context there in Philippians 4, not that I speak from want, for I've learned to be content in whatever circumstance I am. I know how to get along with humble means, and I also know how to live in prosperity. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of being filled and going hungry, both of having an abundance and suffering need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's Paul's heart, it's my heart this evening, that you would learn to be content. God knows your needs. He will provide for you. And of those that are content and are good stewards with their money, they practice regular disciplines. It has been my experience in counseling. Many pastors are sound in their faith, but unsound in their finances. 3 out of 4 couples say finances causes stress in their marriage. Folks, there are 2,350 verses on money throughout Scripture. 40% of Jesus' parables dealt with money. Money is a big deal. And financial pressure will hamstring your marriage. But I'm here to encourage you. This doesn't have to be hard. We need to turn down the heat. We need to reduce the stress. And we need to engage the 7 disciplines of a great steward. Number 1, give generously. Give generously. Giving starts now while you're at Boys College and in seminary. You can't make a future ask of your congregation and of the people you lead to give generously when you were stingy yourself. We're talking about equal sacrifice, not equal amount. While you're in school, while you're enjoying this education, you need to give generously. The Macedonians are the classic example in 2 Corinthians 8, verses 1 to 5. They were sacrificial. They were cheerful. They did it voluntarily. It was altruistic. It was prioritized. But if you notice anything in 2 Corinthians 8, 1 to 5, what preceded financial giving was self-giving. They gave themselves. If you give your heart, your wallet should follow. Your view of God affects your giving. They first gave themselves. Giving is the most joy-filled enterprise that you can engage in week after week in the Christian corporate experience. Jesus said himself, Acts 20:35, it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. The basis for our generosity is Ephesians 2:8 and 9. For by grace you've been saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. So when it comes to giving, start asking the right questions. If you're a couple, don't ask how much should we give this year. Ask the question, how much should we actually keep? Randy Alcorn's little book, The Treasure Principle, is epic. Randy states, sometimes God raises your income to raise your standard of giving and not necessarily your standard of living. It is the flesh's auto response when you get more to kind of up the game in how you live out your Christian experience. We should ask better questions. He also states, you fight materialism, that propensity towards materialism, with generosity. And of course, Jesus made it clear in Matthew 6:24. Follow the money, and you'll find the heart motivation. Generosity is king. As students, learn to give until it hurts, and then go the extra mile. Winston Churchill wrote, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Students, give generously now. Number 2, get out of debt immediately. 7 years of debt I experienced in my own marriage. Run from debt, don't walk. Debt is the most common pitfall of managing money. That means you must pay off your credit card monthly. Should be blatantly obvious, but you need to spend less than you earn. Let me tell you something. There is such joy and freedom in being debt-free. If my wife or family want to go to Haiti this weekend, we could go. We wouldn't have to go kind of think through it. We don't have to raise support. We've been good stewards. We have money set aside to do ministry. We have a ministry checkbook that's specifically dedicated towards either giving to ministry or going in ministry. There's such joy. When you're in seminary, this is the time to readjust your lifestyle. I went to seminary, $10,000 in debt. I left seminary with $10,000 in the bank. I was in Los Angeles. My wife worked from my location 30 miles away. We had one car. We did whatever it took to lower our standard of living so that we could be available and easily deployed for the sake of the gospel. Since you're already adjusting, and we recognize that as a leadership team here at Southern, since you're already adjusting your lifestyle, keep it that way. Do it while you're in seminary. Debt-free is king. The freedom to do, the freedom to go, the freedom to be. Get out of debt immediately. Number 3, save for a rainy day. You will need a just-in-case fund. I and others would recommend 3 to 6 months after, listen to me, after you've paid off your credit card debt. You don't need an emergency fund. You have your credit card. If you get in trouble, you pay off your credit card, the debt there, the interest there, and then you build a rainy day fund. Also, save money by spending less. Frugality isn't just being smart, is just being smart with money, not weird. It's not churning your own butter and knitting your own hats. Don't be weird. You'll spend hours. You'll get into time management issues. As Dr. Pennings has said, trying to be weird. It just means use some wisdom, some common sense, some spiritual street smarts. Be wise with your money. Don't be cheap. More on that in a minute. Our national savings statistics has been in the low single digits for 25 years. We are stewards. Students, God owns everything. We ought to be exemplary in how we handle our money. Save for a rainy day. Frugality is king. Number 4, deploy the power of compound interest. Deploy the power of compound interest. Pay yourself first. You should prepare for retirement now. Starting young and saving for retirement may seem crazy, but you are actually crazy not to do it. There is magic in compound interest. Let me give you the tale of two savers. Tony, age 25, sets aside $100 a month for 40 years on an annualized average return interest rate of 7%. Tammy, age 45, started saving $200 a month for 20 years. Both stopped at age 65. Both saved $48,000 without calculating any interest. But here's the magic of compound interest. Tony ended up with $258,000. Tammy ended up with $103,000. Kara McGuire said it rightly. Starting early with any dollar amount is smarter than waiting until you have enough money to save a larger amount. Start saving now. Try to set aside between 10 and 20% of your monthly gross income. However, it is not a one-size-fits-all strategy. My point, my challenge to you is save something, do something. Get in the discipline, in the habit of saving some money. Also, max out your company's retirement options. Could be a 401k, could be a matching program. Any tax advantage savings account, you need to max that out before you invest in global markets, before you get into investing, if that's an interest of yours. Tax-deferred plans are the fastest way to build wealth. If you put $1 in and they put $1 in, you doubled your money. You're not going to get that in the global markets. As a matter of fact, since the 1800s, the stock market has returned 7% after adjusting for inflation. Saving is king. Saving is king. Number 5, make a budget. Make a budget. It's pretty simple. You create a family balance sheet. Take a simple piece of paper. Assets on one side, liabilities on the other. And you kind of get a big picture, a 32,000-foot look at your finances. And then make a personal income statement. Same thing. Revenue and expenses. You never spend more than you're going to take in on a monthly basis. But regarding a budget, make sure you're having some fun. You made a lot of sacrifices to be a part of the Southern tribe, and we appreciate that. But you also got to have fun. Those of you especially that are married, a budget is a roadmap. It's not meant to be a taskmaster. Pollock said, starvation budgets work no better than starvation diets. Be careful. Make sure that you're having fun. The chief end of man is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. Tools. YNAB. You need a budget. It's a great app. If a couple's struggling and they come to us for counseling, we get their subscription for them. YNAB or Mint. They're like a Fitbit for your checkbook. You'll be surprised, nay shocked, at what you can live without. Handling money is a discipleship issue, not an economic issue. Students, transparency is king. A budget makes it transparent. Number 6, live within your means. Live within your means. One of the tools that you can do is to start paying cash for everything for a series of maybe 3 months in order to see where your money's going. We call it the envelope method. Just setting aside different envelopes, and when the money's out, it's out. The calendar and the checkbook, they never lie. Time spent plus money spent equals what you value. It is simply that easy. We're to love people and use money We're not to love money and use people. You cannot be in the ministry for the money. Buying a home when you're financially ready. Buy a home when you're financially ready and not emotionally ready. Crush the American dream. You're a soldier of the cross. 1 John 5:21, little children, keep yourself from idols. Streamline non-essential bills. You have to have discernment, right? Wisdom, street smarts. It's the ability to discern between necessity and luxury. And every single day you've got to make these kinds of choices. For you know, theologically, money has wings. And it takes flight. One day it's there, the next day it's gone. Proverbs 23:4-5. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. They will just refinance, or they may be leveraged to the hilt. Think soberly about credit cards and debt. Don't go to the mall. You're just going to run into things and see things that you really don't even need. Be careful with those credit cards. They're virtual money, phony money, and are dangerous. Avoid emotional buying by doing some research and eliminating spontaneous purchases. As a matter of fact, just as a regular discipline as a couple or as an individual, you should just say no to something. It could be as simple as a latte or something, just to tell your flesh, I'm in control of my wealth management. My flesh is not. On a regular basis, I'll just walk away from it. I want it. I might even need it, but I control it by a willingness to walk away. Cash is king. Learn to live within your means. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. God has provided for you. Number 7, engage finances together. Engage finances together. If you're married, complementarianism here is king. You need to be intentional with your money. Learn to make a little go a long way. You've got to learn to stretch it. That's a discipline and an art that you learn in seminary that you need to carry with you the rest of your ministry. Date nights don't need to be expensive. It doesn't cost you a dime to walk through one of the finest parks in the United States across the street here in Cherokee. If you're the spender in a marriage, then you need to feel the full weight of the budget. You need to see it. It's dangerous not to put eyes on it. Do a monthly, as-needed financial review of your income statement. Take a close look. However, too much looking at the budget can be taxing, and you lose the forest for the trees. You'll have all your time invested in input and managing your budget and not really evaluate any output, and that is a dangerous place to be. Money problems bring unnecessary stress, and oftentimes the Achilles heel in a broken marriage. Benjamin Franklin said a small leak can sink a big ship. When you're fully trained at Southern Seminary, you are a big ship. You are a force to be reckoned with. But money can trip you up. Money can hurt you. Money can bring crazy stress to your life and to your marriage. Proverbs 30, King Agar, verse 7 and 8 is fantastic wisdom. Listen. 2 things I asked of you. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep deception and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is my portion, that I not be full and deny you, saying, who is the Lord? I can do this. I can handle this. Or that I not be in want and steal and profane the name of my God. Not too much, not too little. As the Apostle Paul said, be content. Thank you.